She walked onto the screen as a girl with a shaved head and supernatural powers, and in that moment, the world stopped to watch. A young actress who had faced rejection after rejection suddenly became the face of a generation, a symbol of strength wrapped in vulnerability, and a voice for millions who felt unseen. Her journey from a struggling child performer to one of the most recognized faces on the planet is not just a story about fame. It is a story about resilience in the face of impossible odds, about a family that gambled everything on a dream, and about a girl who refused to let the world define her limits. This is the entire story of Millie Bobby Brown, a tale that begins in the most unexpected of places and transforms into something extraordinary. Millie Bobby Brown was born on February 19, 2004, in Marbella, Spain, a picturesque coastal city known for its beaches and sunshine. Her parents, Kelly and Robert Brown, were British expatriates who had moved to Spain seeking new opportunities and a different life. Millie was the third of 4 children, growing up alongside her siblings in a household filled with love, laughter, and the kind of chaos that comes with raising multiple energetic kids. From her earliest days, Millie exhibited a spark that her parents noticed immediately. She was expressive, dramatic in the best possible way, and constantly performing for anyone who would watch. Whether she was singing songs, acting out scenes from movies, or simply telling elaborate stories, Millie seemed to possess an innate understanding of how to capture attention and hold it. Brown family lived modestly in Spain, but when Millie was around 4 years old, they made a significant decision that would alter the trajectory of their lives forever. They moved to Bournemouth, England, seeking better opportunities and a place where their children could thrive. It was in England that Millie's parents began to seriously consider the possibility that their daughter's talent was not just childhood enthusiasm, but something deeper and more substantial. She loved to perform, and her natural charisma was undeniable. Kelly and Robert started exploring options for Millie to pursue acting professionally, taking her to local theater groups and workshops where she could develop her skills and gain experience. Even at such a young age, Millie approached every opportunity with seriousness and dedication that belied her years. However, the family soon realized that if Millie was going to have a real chance at breaking into the entertainment industry, they would need to be where the industry lived and breathed. England offered some opportunities, but the heart of film and television was elsewhere. After much discussion and deliberation, the Brown family made another monumental decision. They packed up their lives once again and moved across the Atlantic Ocean to Orlando, Florida, when Millie was just 8 years old. This move was not a casual relocation. It was a leap of faith, a family betting everything on the talent and potential of their young daughter. They left behind stability, familiar surroundings, and the comfort of home, all in pursuit of a dream that had no guarantees. Life in America was not the immediate success story that movies often portray. The Brown family arrived in Orlando with hope and determination, but they quickly discovered that breaking into Hollywood, even from Florida, was extraordinarily difficult. Millie began attending auditions, traveling to various cities for casting calls, and putting herself out there in an industry that was notoriously harsh and competitive. For every audition she attended, there were hundreds of other talented children vying for the same roles. Rejection became a constant companion in Millie's young life. She would prepare extensively for roles, pour her heart into auditions, and then hear nothing back or receive polite rejections that offered no explanation or encouragement. Financial strain on the family was immense. Robert and Kelly were supporting 4 children in a new country, spending money on acting classes, headshots, travel expenses, and all the costs associated with pursuing an acting career. There were moments when the family questioned whether they had made the right decision. Millie faced rejection after rejection, and each one stung a little more than the last. She auditioned for numerous television shows, commercials, and films, but nothing seemed to stick. The industry seemed to have no place for her, despite her obvious talent and dedication. These were dark times for the young actress, periods when doubt crept in and the dream seemed further away than ever. Adding to the difficulty was the fact that Millie was partially deaf in one ear, a condition she had been born with that gradually worsened over time. This physical challenge never defined her, but it added another layer of complexity to an already difficult journey. She had to work harder to hear directions on set, to pick up cues from other actors, and to navigate environments that were not always accommodating to her needs. Rather than allowing this to become an excuse, Millie used it as motivation, proving to herself and others that limitations were only as powerful as you allowed them to be. Her parents supported her unconditionally, never pressuring her to quit even when the path seemed impossibly hard, and never losing faith that their daughter's moment would eventually arrive. Years between ages 8 and 11 were filled with small roles that led nowhere, auditions that ended in disappointment, and a constant sense of being on the verge of something without ever quite reaching it. Millie appeared in small guest roles on television shows, including appearances on series like Once Upon a Time in Wonderland and NCIS, but these were brief moments that did not open the doors she desperately needed. She also had a recurring role on the BBC series Intruders, which gave her more substantial material to work with and helped her develop her craft. But even this did not lead to the breakthrough the family was hoping for. Brown family had sacrificed so much and the pressure was building. They needed something to happen, some sign that their gamble was going to pay off. In late 2015, when Millie was 11 years old, word began circulating about a new Netflix series that was being developed by Matt and Ross Duffer, twin brothers who had written and directed the project. The show was called Stranger Things, and it was described as a science fiction horror series set in the 1980s that paid homage to the works of Steven Spielberg, Stephen King, and John Carpenter. The series required a large ensemble cast, including several young actors who would carry significant portions of the story. One of the most crucial roles was that of Eleven, a mysterious girl with psychokinetic abilities who escapes from a government laboratory and becomes central to the show's plot. The role demanded an actress who could convey profound emotion without relying heavily on dialogue, someone who could communicate volumes through facial expressions and physical presence alone. Millie's agents submitted her for the role, and she was invited to audition. The audition process for Stranger Things was extensive and rigorous, with the Duffer brothers seeing hundreds of young actresses for the part of Eleven. Millie prepared intensively, understanding instinctively that this role was different from anything she had auditioned for before. The character of Eleven required vulnerability, strength, fear, and power, all wrapped into a single performance. During her audition, Millie delivered a reading that left the casting directors and the Duffer brothers stunned. She brought an emotional depth to the character that seemed impossible for someone her age. She made them believe in Eleven completely, transforming words on a page into a living, breathing person who had suffered unimaginable trauma but still possessed an indomitable spirit. Duffer brothers knew immediately that they had found their Eleven. Millie received the call that would change her life forever. She had been cast in Stranger Things, and filming would begin soon. The role required her to shave her head completely, a significant physical transformation that many young actresses might have hesitated over. Millie did not hesitate for a second. She understood that the role demanded authenticity, and she was willing to do whatever it took to bring Eleven to life properly. When her head was shaved, it became a powerful symbol of her commitment to the craft and her willingness to sacrifice vanity for authenticity. The image of Millie with her shaved head would soon become iconic, recognized instantly around the world. Filming for the first season of Stranger Things took place in and around Atlanta, Georgia, during late 2015 and early 2016. Production was relatively modest, with Netflix not entirely certain how audiences would respond to this nostalgic, genre-blending series. The cast, which included young actors like Finn Wolfhard, Gate Matarazzo, Caleb McLaughlin, and Noah Schnapp, along with established actors like Winona Ryder and David Harbour, formed a tight-knit group during production. Millie threw herself into the role completely, delivering performances that moved everyone on set. There were scenes that required her to access deep wells of emotion, to portray terror and confusion and rage, and she did so with a naturalism that felt both raw and polished. Duffer brothers gave her creative freedom to explore the character, trusting her instincts even when she was just 11 years old. Stranger Things premiered on Netflix on July 15, 2016, and the response was nothing short of phenomenal. Within days, the show became a cultural phenomenon. Audiences were captivated by the story, the characters, the nostalgic atmosphere, and the masterful blend of horror, science fiction, and coming-of-age drama. At the center of it all was Millie Bobby Brown as Eleven. Despite having relatively few lines of dialogue, especially in the early episodes, Millie commanded every scene she was in. Her performance was haunting, powerful, and utterly mesmerizing. People could not stop talking about the young actress who had burst onto the scene with such force and confidence. Social media exploded with discussions about Eleven and Millie. Fans created artwork, wrote fan fiction, and analyzed every moment of her performance. Critics praised her work effusively, with many calling her performance one of the best of the year regardless of age category. Millie Bobby Brown went from being an unknown child actress who had faced years of rejection to being one of the most talked-about performers in the world virtually overnight. The transformation was dizzying and surreal. Brown family, who had struggled financially and emotionally for years, suddenly found themselves in the midst of a whirlwind that none of them could have fully anticipated. Success of Stranger Things brought opportunities that had been unimaginable just months before. Millie was invited to appear on talk shows, red carpets, and major media events. She handled the attention with remarkable grace and maturity, conducting interviews that showcased not only her intelligence, but also her humor and down-to-earth personality. She spoke openly about her journey, about the years of rejection, and about her gratitude for the opportunity to play Eleven. Audiences fell in love not just with the character, but with Millie herself. She became a role model for young people around the world, demonstrating that perseverance and belief in oneself could lead to extraordinary outcomes. The awards and recognition came quickly. Millie received a Screen Actors Guild Award nomination for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Drama Series, making her one of the youngest nominees in that category's history. She won the award along with her castmates for Outstanding Performance by an Ensemble in a Drama Series, a moment that brought her to tears as she stood on stage with her Stranger Things family. The Emmy nominations followed, with Millie receiving a nomination for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series, further cementing her status as a serious actress despite her young age. These accolades were not just personal victories, but validation for all the years of struggle and sacrifice that she and her family had endured. As Stranger Things continued with its second season in 2017 and third season in 2019, Millie's fame only intensified. Each season saw her character evolve and grow, and Millie matched that growth with increasingly sophisticated performances. Eleven's journey from a frightened, abused child to a powerful young woman with agency and voice mirrored in some ways Millie's own journey in the public eye. She was no longer just the girl with the shaved head and supernatural powers. She was becoming a multifaceted performer capable of handling complex emotional material and carrying significant narrative weight. Beyond Stranger Things, Millie began expanding her career into other areas. In 2019, she took on the lead role in Godzilla, King of the Monsters, a big-budget blockbuster that placed her alongside established stars like Vera Farmiga, Kyle Chandler, and Millie's own Stranger Things co-star, played by other actors. The film demonstrated that she could transition from television to major motion pictures and hold her own in a completely different genre. While the film received mixed reviews, critics consistently praised Millie's performance, noting that she brought emotional depth to a movie that could have easily been all spectacle and no substance. She returned to the Godzilla franchise with Godzilla vs. Kong in 2021, further establishing herself in the world of blockbuster filmmaking. However, it was her role in the Netflix film Enola Holmes that truly showcased her range and charisma as a leading lady. Released in 2020, Enola Holmes cast Millie as the title character, the rebellious and brilliant younger sister of the famous detective Sherlock Holmes. The film allowed Millie to break the fourth wall, speaking directly to the audience, displaying comedic timing, physical comedy, and carrying an entire film essentially on her shoulders. The movie was a massive success for Netflix, becoming one of the platform's most watched films, and a sequel was quickly greenlit. Millie's influence extended far beyond acting. She became a fashion icon, appearing on the covers of major magazines like Vogue, Elle, and Harper's Bazaar. Fashion houses courted her for partnerships and campaigns, recognizing that she represented a new generation of celebrity who was both accessible and aspirational. She attended major fashion events, always making bold and thoughtful choices that sparked conversations. At the Met Gala and other high-profile events, Millie consistently appeared on best-dressed lists, demonstrating a sophistication and style that seemed remarkable for someone so young. What truly distinguished Millie Bobby Brown from many other young celebrities was her commitment to using her platform for meaningful change. She did not simply accept fame as an end in itself, but saw it as a tool for advocacy and positive impact. In 2018, at just 14 years old, Millie was appointed as a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, making her the youngest person ever to hold that title. The appointment was not merely ceremonial. Millie took the role seriously, using her voice to advocate for children's rights, education, and ending violence against children around the world. She traveled to various countries with UNICEF, visiting with young people who face challenges that most children in developed nations could barely imagine. She spoke at the United Nations, delivering speeches that demonstrated maturity and understanding far beyond her years. Millie spoke about bullying, having experienced cyberbullying herself as her fame grew, and she used her own experiences to connect with young people who felt marginalized or attacked. She advocated for mental health awareness, for access to education, and for creating a world where every child had the opportunity to reach their potential regardless of their circumstances. Her advocacy was not limited to her work with UNICEF. Millie also launched her own beauty brand called Florence by Mills in 2019, creating a line of affordable, cruelty-free, and vegan beauty products aimed at young people. The brand was not just a celebrity cash grab, but reflected her genuine interest in creating products that were ethical, accessible, and empowering. She was involved in every aspect of the brand's development, from product formulation to packaging design to marketing strategy. The brand's name honored her grandmother, adding a personal and emotional dimension to the business venture. Millie also spoke openly about her experiences with anxiety and the pressures of growing up in the public eye. She did not present a sanitized version of fame, but was honest about the toll that constant scrutiny and criticism could take on mental health. This honesty resonated deeply with her fans, many of whom faced their own struggles with mental health and felt seen and validated by Millie's willingness to be vulnerable. She used social media not just for promotion but for genuine connection, sharing moments of joy and struggle, and creating a community around authenticity and support. Growing up in the public eye presented challenges that no amount of success could entirely mitigate. Millie faced intense scrutiny regarding her appearance, her relationships, her choices, and essentially every aspect of her life. The internet could be cruel, with anonymous critics dissecting her every move and making judgments that no young person should have to endure. There were controversies and misunderstandings that were blown out of proportion by social media and gossip websites. Millie had to develop thick skin while simultaneously remaining open and authentic, a balance that was extraordinarily difficult to maintain. One of the most challenging aspects was navigating relationships and friendships while being constantly watched. Millie's friendship with other young celebrities, including her Stranger Things castmates, was documented and analyzed endlessly. Any hint of distance or change in these relationships sparked rumors and speculation. She entered the world of romantic relationships, while millions of people felt entitled to comment and judge. Her relationship with Jake Bon Jovi, son of rock legend John Bon Jovi, became public, and suddenly her private life was being discussed in tabloids and on social media platforms around the world. Millie tried to maintain boundaries, to keep some aspects of her life private, but the nature of modern celebrity made that nearly impossible. The pressure to remain relevant and successful was constant. After the massive success of Stranger Things, there was an expectation that everything Millie touched would turn to gold, and when projects received mixed reviews or did not perform as expected, critics were quick to question whether her success had been a fluke or whether she was overhyped. These criticisms were unfair and ignored the reality that even the most talented actors have varied filmographies, but they stung nonetheless. Millie had to learn to filter out the noise, to focus on her craft rather than the constant chatter surrounding her, and to trust her own instincts about which projects to pursue and which to pass on. There were also growing pains as she transitioned from child actor to young adult performer. The roles that had worked for her at 11 or 12 no longer fit as she grew older. She needed to find projects that matched her age and maturity level while also challenging her as an actress. This transition period is notoriously difficult for child stars, with many struggling to find their footing or being typecast in roles that no longer serve them. Millie approached this challenge with intelligence and strategy, choosing projects that allowed her to demonstrate range while also being selective enough to avoid oversaturation. Millie Bobby Brown demonstrated that she was not just a talented actress, but also a shrewd businesswoman with a keen understanding of the entertainment industry. She did not want to be simply a performer at the mercy of others' decisions, but wanted creative control and ownership over her projects. This ambition led her to establish her own production company, PCMA Productions, through which she could develop and produce content that resonated with her vision and values. Her role as a producer on Enola Holmes and its sequel Enola Holmes 2 showcased this new dimension of her career. She was not just the star, but also an executive producer, involved in decisions about script development, casting, directorial choices, and overall creative direction. This level of involvement gave her a deeper understanding of the filmmaking process and allowed her to shape projects from the ground up rather than simply interpreting someone else's vision. Success of both Enola Holmes films validated her instincts as a producer and demonstrated that she had talents that extended far beyond acting. Millie also proved adept at negotiating and understanding her worth in the industry. Reports indicated that she commanded significant fees for her work, placing her among the highest-paid young actors in the world. She understood that her name carried value, that audiences would show up for projects because she was attached to them, and she ensured that she was compensated accordingly. This business savvy was rare for someone her age and indicated that she was building a career that would last decades rather than simply riding a wave of temporary popularity. Her approach to social media also demonstrated strategic thinking. With tens of millions of followers across platforms, Millie used her social media presence not just for personal expression, but as a marketing tool for her various projects and brands. She understood the power of direct connection with audiences and used it to build loyalty and engagement that translated directly into success for her ventures. Whether promoting Stranger Things, her beauty brand, or her film projects, Millie leveraged her digital presence effectively while also maintaining enough authenticity to keep her followers genuinely invested in her journey. As Stranger Things approached its conclusion with the announcement of the 5th and final season, Millie faced the bittersweet reality of saying goodbye to the character that had defined her career and changed her life. Levin had been her companion for nearly a decade, growing and evolving alongside her from childhood into young adulthood. The end of Stranger Things represented both a closing chapter and an opening of new possibilities. Millie spoke emotionally about what the show and the character meant to her, about the family she had found in her castmates and crew, and about the gratitude she felt for the opportunity that had been given to her. However, Millie was not someone who dwelled in the past. She looked forward with excitement and determination to what came next. She lined up projects that would challenge her and allow her to explore different aspects of her craft. She signed on to star in and produce The Girls I've Been, a thriller based on the popular young adult novel, demonstrating her continued interest in projects with strong female protagonists. She also announced involvement in various other film and television projects that would showcase different genres and characters, from action to drama to comedy. Her ambitions extended beyond acting and producing. Millie expressed interest in directing, recognizing that ultimate creative control came from being behind the camera. She spoke about wanting to tell stories that mattered, stories about young women finding their strength, about outsiders discovering their belonging, and about the power of resilience in the face of adversity. These were not just talking points, but reflected genuine passions that had been shaped by her own experiences and the struggles she had witnessed through her advocacy work. Millie also continued expanding her business ventures. Florence by Mills grew into an international brand, with products available in multiple countries and a loyal customer base that appreciated the brand's values and accessibility. She explored other business opportunities, including potential fashion collaborations, media partnerships, and investments in companies that aligned with her values. She was building an empire that would sustain her long after her acting career eventually wound down, creating multiple streams of income and influence that would give her freedom and security. Despite the constant public attention, Millie worked hard to maintain some semblance of a normal life. Her family remained central to everything she did. The Brown family, who had sacrificed so much in those early years, stayed close-knit and supportive through all the changes that fame brought. Millie often spoke about her parents and siblings with deep affection and gratitude, crediting them with keeping her grounded and reminding her of who she was before the fame and who she would remain regardless of what happened in her career. Her relationship with Jake Bongiovi became a significant part of her personal life, with the couple eventually getting engaged in 2023. The engagement was announced on social media, with sweet and genuine posts that showed two young people genuinely in love and excited about their future together. The relationship represented a return to some normalcy, a piece of her life that belonged to her rather than to the public, even though the public naturally took great interest in it. Millie navigated this attention with grace, sharing enough to satisfy curiosity while maintaining boundaries around the most intimate aspects of the relationship. She also maintained close friendships with her Stranger Things castmates, particularly with Sadie Sink, Noah Schnapp, and others who had shared the unique experience of growing up on one of the world's most popular television shows. These friendships were important anchors in a life that could easily have become unmoored by fame and fortune. They understood the pressures and challenges in ways that others could not, and they provided support and normalcy that was invaluable. Millie's interests outside of work revealed a young woman with curiosity and depth. She loved fashion and used it as a form of self-expression and creativity. She enjoyed spending time with family and friends, traveling when possible, and finding moments of peace and privacy away from the cameras and crowds. She spoke about the importance of rest and taking breaks, of not burning out in pursuit of success, and of remembering that life was about more than career achievements and public recognition. Just 20 years old as of 2024, Millie Bobby Brown had already accomplished more than most actors achieve in entire careers. She had starred in one of the most successful television series of all time, transitioned successfully to film, built business empires, advocated for important causes, and become a global icon recognized and admired by millions. Yet what made her story truly remarkable was not just the success but the journey that led to it and the person she had become along the way. Millie represented a new kind of celebrity, one who used platform for purpose, who combined talent with business acumen, and who remained authentic and relatable despite astronomical fame. She had faced rejection and kept going, had been knocked down by criticism and stood back up, and had navigated the treacherous waters of growing up in public with remarkable grace and resilience. Young people saw in her a reflection of their own struggles and aspirations, a proof that dreams could come true even when the odds seemed impossible. Her impact on popular culture was undeniable. Levin became an iconic character who would be remembered long after Stranger Things ended. The image of the young girl with the shaved head and the fierce determination had entered the cultural lexicon, referenced and parodied and celebrated around the world. Beyond the character, Millie herself had become a symbol of a generation that valued authenticity, that demanded that their heroes stand for something beyond themselves, and that believed in using whatever platform you had to make the world a little bit better. The entertainment industry had been changed by her presence. She had proven that young actors could be taken seriously as producers and businesspeople, that they could have creative control and ownership rather than simply being hired hands. She had demonstrated that social media could be used for genuine connection and advocacy rather than just self-promotion. She had shown that commercial success and artistic integrity were not mutually exclusive, and that you could build a brand around values and ethics rather than just products and profit. As Millie Bobby Brown looked toward the future, the possibilities seemed limitless. She had already achieved the kind of success that most people only dream about, but she showed no signs of slowing down or resting on her accomplishments. There were more stories to tell, more characters to inhabit, more causes to champion, and more ways to grow and evolve as an artist and as a person. The girl who had faced rejection after rejection, who had struggled and sacrificed and never given up, had become a woman who knew her worth and her power. The road ahead would undoubtedly have challenges. The entertainment industry was fickle and unpredictable, and maintaining relevance and success over the long term required constant adaptation and reinvention. Millie would face new pressures as she moved fully into adult roles, as expectations shifted and the roles she was offered changed. She would have to continue proving herself, demonstrating that her talent was not just a flash in the pan, but something deep and enduring. But if her journey so far had proven anything, it was that Millie Bobby Brown possessed the determination, intelligence, and resilience to meet whatever challenges came her way. Her story was far from over. In many ways, it felt like it was just beginning. The choices she made in the coming years would define not just her career, but potentially influence an entire generation of young performers who looked to her as a model and inspiration. Whether she chose to focus more on acting, directing, producing, business, or advocacy, she would do so with the same passion and commitment that had characterized everything she had done so far. The entire story of Millie Bobby Brown was still being written, with each day adding new chapters to an already remarkable narrative. The story of Millie Bobby Brown is ultimately a story about possibility. It is about a girl born in Spain to British parents who moved to England and then to America chasing a dream that seemed impossible. It is about years of rejection and struggle that would have broken many people, but instead forged steel in a young soul. It is about a single audition that changed everything, about a character that became iconic, and about an actress who used her platform not just for personal gain, but to try to make the world better. It is about family that sacrificed everything, about loyalty to roots and values, and about never forgetting where you came from even as you reach heights that once seemed unimaginable. Millie Bobby Brown showed the world that talent combined with perseverance could overcome incredible odds. She demonstrated that age was not a barrier to excellence, that young people could handle enormous pressure and responsibility with grace and maturity, and that success did not require sacrificing authenticity or values. She became a voice for her generation, speaking out on issues that mattered and using her influence to create change rather than simply accumulating wealth and fame. Her journey from struggling child actress to global superstar happened in the blink of an eye from the outside, but those who knew the full story understood that it was years in the making, built on a foundation of hard work, sacrifice, and unwavering belief. As audiences around the world watched 11 battle monsters, both real and metaphorical, in Stranger Things, they were also watching Millie Bobby Brown battle her own challenges and emerge victorious. Parallels were not accidental. The strength, vulnerability, and determination that made 11 such a compelling character were drawn directly from the young woman who portrayed her. Millie gave 11 life, but in many ways, 11 gave Millie a platform to show the world who she truly was. The partnership between actress and character created something magical that transcended television and became a cultural touchstone for millions. The legacy of Millie Bobby Brown will be measured not just in awards, box office numbers, or social media followers, though she has plenty of all three. It will be measured in the young people she inspired to keep pursuing their dreams even when faced with rejection. It will be measured in the conversations she sparked about mental health, bullying, and children's rights. It will be measured in the way she helped redefine what it meant to be a young woman in the entertainment industry, demonstrating that you could be powerful and vulnerable, successful and humble, famous and authentic all at the same time. She showed that you did not have to choose between career and conscience, that you could build an empire while also building a better world. The entire story of Millie Bobby Brown is one that will continue to unfold for decades to come. What she has accomplished by age 20 is just the beginning of what promises to be a long and remarkable career and life. She has already secured her place in entertainment history, but more importantly, she has shown a generation what is possible when talent meets opportunity meets determination. From Marbella to Bournemouth to Orlando to Atlanta to Hollywood and beyond, from rejection to global stardom, from struggling child performer to icon and advocate, Millie Bobby Brown's journey reminds us all that our circumstances do not define our destinations, that dreams are worth fighting for, and that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply refuse to give up. This is her story, and it is a story that will inspire for generations to come. Millie Bobby Brown Script TXT, displaying Millie Bobby Brown Script TXT.